Oh, I know it's the most wonderful time of the year for many of you when students head back to the classrooms and give parents a little bit of a break. Now, we are seeing students go back to classrooms this week across Quebec, but many are going to be met with a familiar problem, teaching shortages, staff shortages in general. Of course, Education Minister Bernard Drinville revealed over the last couple of weeks just how bad the problem has got. Right now, the ministry says schools are short about 8,000 teachers. Let's try and find some solutions here and just see just how bad the problem is. We're going to Éric Gingras, who's the president of the CSQ, the union. They represent teaching, professional, and support staff in school boards, among other professionals. Éric, Monsieur Gingras, welcome to the program.
Thanks. Hi.
So, how bad is your perspective here? How bad is the shortage problem in Quebec schools?
Well, we saw that coming for maybe the past 5 to 10 years. Remember, even like 5 years ago, we asked so many times the prior Minister of Education, Monsieur Roberge, we asked him so many times, what are you going to do with the teacher and the professionals and the support staff shortages that are coming? And he said, no, it does not exist. And now we're 5 years later, and we see the numbers worsening from year to year. So basically, short term, it's going to be hard. We're going to have to find a way to get people on board. But it's the next few years that is going to be really important, and it always come back to a better working conditions. So of course, everybody is going to have an adult in the class, sometimes non-legally qualified teacher, but everybody's going to do his best. So hopefully by maybe a week or two, they're going to have teachers everywhere. But what about educators, special ed educators,
yes,
and other professionals? And that's the big question mark right now.
Okay, and I just want some clarification here, Monsieur Gingras, just on how bad the shortage is, because our colleagues across the street here at CTV Montreal, they spent some time just before the weekend calling like every single English school board. And they asked them about, okay, what your shortage was, and as classes start, what the shortage will be. And it turns correct me if I'm wrong here, it turns out that the part of the reason the number was so big is because a lot of teaching contracts are only settled in the days ahead of classes actually starting. So, because I hear 8,500 and I go, wow, that's a big problem. But when classes start, what are we actually seeing? Like, is it still at thousands of positions that are filled by unqualified people, or does the situation get better as contracts are signed?
Yeah, it gets better. And you have to understand that in the summer, and what happens in Quebec on July 1st, people move. So you get like a month or a month and a half before parents call back to school, say, I'm not going to this school, now I'm going to the other one. It takes a while to settle down. And of course, there's contract too that comes in effect starting the end of August. So you have to expect that it's going to be a couple of hundred teachers, and same thing with educators when it sets down maybe in a week or two.
Gotcha.
But the thing is, after that, when people go on maternity leave or health leave or something like that, then it gets worsened when it gets closer to Christmas. So it gets good, it gets better, but then again, there's so many staff shortage that it gets like that through the years. Yep. And after that, in April, it gets better because what? Because students finish their degree in university. So then you get more people. So in the past 2 or 3 years, it's like that, and the wheel is turning. But you have to get better. It cannot be like that for the next 5 to 10 years.
Éric, let me ask you this. I know part of the issue here is when someone becomes a teacher, you want to retain them. You want them to stay as a teacher. And we hear story after story of teachers that get burned out and then leave the role. What do we need to do better to retain the teachers that we have and perhaps attract more people into the profession, with better working conditions?
Yeah, you just said it. You have to retain them, and you have to attract them. And it all comes to better working conditions. And it's not all about the money. It's not all about the pay raise. It's about having less of a heavy workload when it comes to teachers. And you know what? You need people around them. That's why I was talking before about a professional educational psychologist, speech therapist, educators, special ed educator. And that's the problem right now. What happened in the last negotiation with the government a couple of years ago, they only had in mind teachers. Let's take care of teachers. And that's good. We have to take care of teachers. They have to have a better working condition. They have less of a heavy workload. But if you don't surround them with people who are going to take care of the kids in all the ways possible, well, there's a problem there. And that's why we're hoping in the next few months that we're going to set this, we're going to settle this, and of course, looking forward, looking ahead in the future, it's going to be better. And people are going to choose to go in the school network instead of going somewhere else. That's the big problem right now.
We're with Éric Gingras, the president of the CAQ. That's a union that represents teaching, professional, and support staff from school boards, among other professionals. So, Monsieur Gingras, let me get your take on the current education minister, Bernard Drinville. I mean, I just heard a laugh there. So, what's your I mean, sometimes I feel like he's his own worst enemy with just how he puts his foot in his mouth all the time. What's your take on the education minister and if he can be the right person to come to some solutions here?
I think you said it. I don't think he has bad intentions. I mean, he knows he has a job to do. He knows what he has to do. But sometimes, you just said it, he becomes his own enemy. But I just think that maybe the priorities are not exactly what they have to be. Like let's say he's talking about reforming with his new law project. He's talking about reforming, but reforming what? Reforming numbers, reforming structures. It's not what we need right now. We need to take care of the working condition. And when we hear in beginning of the year, like we hear right now, we know that he knows there's a problem. So let's face it. And let's find ways to fix it. But the thing is, it seems like he's taking lots of information, maybe on the right place, on the wrong place, instead of asking people on the floor, people in schools, what needs to be done.
And I want to get back to something you mentioned, right? Putting the teachers aside for a second and talking about the support staff, the other people that work in schools, and just the shortage there. What if there's a shortage in those other roles? What's the damage? What happens in Quebec schools?
Well, the thing is, kids nowadays, they go to school. Some go to school from 7 in the morning to 6 at night. So you got teachers that take care of them. You got educators. You got people that do activities with them. So basically, if you take one category of worker out of the equation, it does not work. There's something missing. And what has to be done when that happens is other people, other workers that have to take care of that. And at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the year, people are exhausted because they have to do their job, and the one that people were missing to do it. Because you know what? This morning, you said it in the intro before. It's good news today. People are happy. The kids are happy to go back to school. Maybe not for school, but to see their friends and everything. They're all smiling, and it has to be like that the whole year long. And sometimes when we're missing qualified, good people working the system, the thing is, there's something missing. At the end, someone is trying to fix that, and it has to be done right away and not waiting for 5 or 10 years. And you know what? We made maybe 20 years of bad political decision, and it had to stop.
Mr. Gingras, we're going to have to leave it there. Great talking to you.
All right, thanks.
That's Éric Gingras, president of the CSQ.